Schalk Burger, former teammate. Look at us now.
Yeah.
Look at us now.
I was about to ask, what happened to the big in the gym?
I
It's
know.
only gym now, bro.
I know.
You look
It is
like a
just
skeleton.
gym. I know, I am.
Are you
lean.
okay?
I'm lean.
Malnutrition or
Yeah,
just
it's
fine?
lean. That's
Okay,
it. I'm going to
okay.
go lean.
Oh.
I'm going to go shredded. But not, mate, you're looking well. Looking very well.
Well, as a retired rugby player, I'll take that as a compliment. And lean is a good thing for yourself as well.
The Springboks
Yep.
look unplayable at times. Powerful, big, fast. Can anyone beat you, lads? Are you worried about anyone?
I think, we're one of those teams that no one really wants to play against because we're relentless and we're so competitive. And I think we've found a style that's really good for us, but we're not a one-trick pony anymore. We can really play with, personnel changes that's come in at 10 and look at our outside backs, they can finish. Let's put it this way, we don't want to be arrogant about it, but this box side, I think, can beat any team at this World Cup. If they play like they did the last 3 games they've played, I think we're going to be very hard to beat, so no, not too worried.
I love that. On these 4-year cycles, right?
Yep.
And the history that South Africa have in this tournament, it just comes at the right time. Who is fronting that? Is it the coaches? Is it like the whole kind of national setup? You just peak at World Cups.
I think there's a couple of factors to this. The fact that we select players based abroad. In between World Cups, we get them together for 2-3 weeks at a time before they've got to jet off to Japan. That's extended period. This Bok team would be together for about 20 weeks non-stop. We play with something extra. We sort of really good at digging out where we come from, what we're playing for. Everyone's is different, and I think this team is no different to teams of past where they are stronger together is their slogan. And I think it's really apt for where we are as a country, and these players respond to that.
Is it more than rugby? When you played, was it more than rugby?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I definitely think so. It's a big thing for us as South Africans. And the box often determines the mood of the country on a Monday. All of us as South Africans, and I think this team is no different to good sides of the past, is we really understand our DNA as a team. What's our minimum requirement to be a Springbok. But when we get to World Cup and knockout rugby, I think it really suits to what this team speaks and stands for. And they'll get it done no matter what it takes.
Were you ever called into camp when you retired? Were you ever leaned upon? Did you ever speak to Siya when he was coming through? Did anyone call you and ask you about playing?
The weirdest thing is, like, Siya came through to Western Province. And then obviously the incumbent open sider was myself. But there was also Dwayne Vermeulen and Frans Solo. We were the back row forwards. And Siya came through, and from a young age, he reckoned, like, okay, if we channel this guy's energy correctly, he's going to be a great little player. I mean, not thinking that, he's going to be captain, statesman, World Cup winning captain. Icon. But like, you sort of just put effort in like you would do every youngster. Take him out for beers. He's got to make some mistakes, sort of guide him into like how to do certain things, how not to do certain things. And you must allow players to do these mistakes, because I think often at the modern day rugby player is so boxed and he's so straight cut that you almost need a release valve. What is that release valve? And we all got vices. Mine is drinking lagers. Jim, you would know. But there's a photo where we were with the Boks. We were playing a test match in Port Elizabeth, and we had grey PE. Siya is 14 at the time. I've got the big blonde locks, believe it or not, there was.
I love the lock.
Yeah,
You didn't dye them, did you?
It was all natural, wasn't
all natural,
it?
yeah.
Sunlight?
Yeah, sunlight, yeah.
And I gave him an autograph. And afterwards he was like, that was his moment that sort of said he wants to become me or wants to become a Springbok. You didn't know. And I think looking back at the photo, it's such a cool thing. Like when I was a youngster, you always sat around Corne Krieger, Bob Skinstad, Osterrand, Percy Montgomery, and you try to pick their brains at where they're at. And I guess the game hasn't changed.
Sticking with the back row,
Yep.
Peter-Steph du Toit, he actually reminds me of you.
I can 100% see it. We grew up on farms probably about 25 kilometers from each other. He's got a big family vineyard, so has we. He's moved to the blind side for us, even though he plays number 7. Has been amazing. It's everything we sort of want from our number 7. Just absolute work rate. Because he's so tall and he played lock line-out options, phenomenal. The way he's been playing the last few weeks is a good sign for us and good sign for world rugby.
Did he nearly lose his leg in an injury, or has that been kind of
Yeah,
heightened?
look, he had a couple of big knee injuries. He had infection in the one. He had a big shoulder operation in the others that he picked up at the Lions series. But Jim, like all of us, you've got challenges, don't we? And if you play like that, if you play in the South African team, I guess you're probably more liable to get injuries just through contributions. And he comes around the corner, and we're asking him to dent the line. And he does that more often than not.
I was going to say, and he dents the line.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does. He's just so quick, like athletic. I don't think there's many people that height, because he is tall and rangy as well. I don't think there's many that height that
I
are
think
as
like
quick as him and powerful.
you look at the box side and you think, okay, they are big beasts. But I don't think you really, can prepare yourself from when you line up next to them. They're all long and rangy. And we always say in South Africa, it's a national build of us, it's loose forwards. Everyone's tall, everyone is big, everyone's got an appetite to play rugby in South Africa. So we're in a fortunate position where, it just comes naturally for us to play this game. Peter-Steph, also a hell of a nice guy, quiet, softly spoken. So yeah, I've been fortunate to play with him and see the development of him, and we're good mates as well.
Ebenezer, how big a loss would he be if the shoulder injury is any worse than we think it might be?
Yeah,
it's meant to be a couple of weeks, isn't it? Like a week, 2 weeks. Spoke to him after the game, but he is a massive player for you lads.
Yeah, we haven't got too much clarity on it, but by the quick little conversation I had, I think it's an AC joint injury. So hopefully he's back in a couple of weeks. And I tell you, it's quite a big loss for us because, the bomb squad got born out of having, in our view, the 4 best locks in the world, between Ludiacher, Ebenezer, Franco Mostert, and RG Snowman, who looks like a... he looks like a...
That's how you'd want to look if you... him and Eben, both of them together.
100.
That's how I'd want to look.
He looks a bit like a Viking, doesn't he? He's also got the go-go gadget arms and gets the offloads out of everything. But that's how the bomb squad was formulated. It's like, okay, let's get the 4 locks involved every weekend. Between him and the other locks, proper play. And also, often you underestimate the work rate that he's got. Balls goes up in the edge, and he's leading the line for us often. So, it's a big loss, not only for that, but from a leadership perspective.
Who's the best player in the Springboks team at the minute? You've got to choose one.
Yeah, Malcolm Marx. I tell you why. For a long time, we thought his biggest impact will come off the bench. Like RG Snowman now, we'll probably only exclusively play him off the bench. And the impact he brought for us was enormous off the back of Bongi and Mbanambi. And I think this year, due to a couple of things, Bongi not quite playing to the level that he's done in the past, allowed Malcolm to get a starting berth. And he stepped up and has been phenomenal for us. It really is world class.
Who else?
I've got to go this year. I've got to go Peter-Steph du Toit because he's really playing exceptional rugby once again. Sort of came into the season, you would say probably be a little bit underdone, but he's been incredible in every single game he's played. Ebenezer, although he's injured now, I think has been phenomenal. And then we can't look past our outside backs at the minute. How about Mani Libbok's no-look kick pass? It's impossible to defend those type of things. So
that no-look kick pass, a no-look kick pass, when he looked into the soul of Grant Gilchrist, that was cold, eh? That's what the call kids said. They say that was cold.
Just
what did you when you saw that? What were you like?
Just imagine us. We're going, okay, here's a little fly panic station. So he might put the footwork on, looks you in the eyes, and kicks it across. I mean, his goal kicking is not exceptional. Maybe a word of advice from us as non-goal kickers: just look away when you kick to goal as well.
Is that the one Achilles heel?
Yeah, I think it's a big worry for all of us. I think as South African supporters, we might be on anxiety meds by the end of this World Cup. And the biggest thing, you don't create scoreboard pressure. Where I want us to go to with this is be fearless in our approach, kick it to the corners, get it into the 22, give us as many opportunities as possible to put teams under pressure. The modern game, you're going to go on a team warning against the box. If they kick it if they have 10 entries to the 22, you're going to be under pressure. And I feel, it's a soft out for us if we give a guy like Mani a 60 or 55 meter a goal kick. And it's up to the player. And I think the team culture is of such, as long as it doesn't affect your personal game in between that. And I think that was the point that Jacques was trying to make, is he got man of the match. The fact that he missed three kicks to goal, no sweat on us. But we all know some game is going to be a tricky game, and you need that one kick to get it over the line. Whether it's straight in front or from the corner or a 60-yard bomb or drop goal, and you need your goal kicker to step up.
South Africa versus Ireland.
Yeah.
One of the best teams in the world at the minute. Is it different playing against Ireland? Or are you not bothered? Is it one of them where you feel like you should win comfortably?
No, you can't say that ever against Ireland. Look, they've been one of our bogey sides, actually, and I think it's the thing that really stands out is the contrast in styles. Ireland's all about attack, managing the ball. You know, it's quite a simple attack until they play out the back balls, but they set up so fast in attack, and they hold on to it for so long that they put you under pressure. And against us, we're unique in the way we defend. So when we play them, it's about our defense, how we're going to handle their attack. And I think we're good enough to do that. But we've seen in the past, especially when they come up against New Zealand, Ireland seem to have the best. And they boss the ball for what seems to be 80% of the time. We can't afford that, so we've got to force them into areas. And the whole mantra about the box is to put you under so much pressure that you cough the ball up, or we do it to get a turnover. And off the back that we're kind of punching side. So it's fascinating watching those games. And I think we'll be quietly confident that we can put them under pressure.
Talking of pressure, Ireland in Rugby World Cups really struggle with the pressure of being in a World Cup. So you can be the world number one, you can go down to New Zealand, win a historic test series.
Exactly.
You can have South Africa's number, but at a World Cup, do you think that pressure, do you think it kills them?
It's harder because we got it in cricket in South Africa. You know, we've never got a ICC trophy over the line. And it sort of follows you, even though it's a different group. Change in management. This side's preparation is different to other sides' prep. You know, a year before the World Cup, they were world number one. Whether they can get over the line in a quarterfinal. For me, as someone who's lost in two quarterfinals before and managed to get through a couple of them, it's the hardest game at the World Cup, quarterfinal. No doubt. First week of knockout rugby. So much at stake, and there's ramp up in the competition because your pool, we've got a hard pool this year with Ireland and Scotland in it, and also don't forget about Tonga. But often your pool is one big game and then some lower weeks where you're going to win quite comfortably, and then the jump in energy and intensity to that quarterfinal puts you under pressure. So this team, no doubt, will feel it from Ireland, but they're good enough to get to a semi-final. Whether they'll do it or not, I don't know. I also think, ironically, the fact that we beat you guys in this first game, Ireland's under pressure in our pool because they now have got to beat Scotland and South Africa to make a quarter-final. It's tricky World Cups, but quarter-final without the doubt the hardest game you can play at a World Cup.
Johnny Sexton, integral to Ireland.
Yep.
Speaking to Finn in the lead-up, he knew what was coming against South Africa. Line speed, Peter-Steph du Toit flying up on him. Couldn't do anything about it. Even though we knew it was coming. The same's coming for Johnny Sexton.
Yep.
We've seen collisions. He's not a huge fan of them. Doesn't like being on the floor. He's integral to them. They're gonna rush him, right? You're gonna rush him.
Yeah, we got to. The way we defend the ball, and the whole premise on that is that you can't string more than 2 or 3 passes against us. We get it, even though there's space on the outside. So you want to access that space.
Does South Africa see Sexton as the most important, or is there naturally a wider respect? But is it Johnny Sexton? You get into him, they win the game.
I think we see it as a wider respect. I think we all respect because we play in the URC. We see Leinster play the same blueprint. Respect the way their team works and functions. How effective they are at setting and playing with the ball in hand. Their little soft options through the pot of 9, the little loop arounds, beautiful starter moves, cleverly coached, real good players. But the guy who touches the ball the most, makes the biggest decisions, is your number 10. You get to him, things break down. So I think the Boks will try and disrupt the tempo in the field, cut them off so they become narrow on attack, and then your options run out. So we'll try and get to him. But the Boks will have to be at the best, and they know that. But I often say with this Boks side, if they're really up for it, you know what's coming. It's what are you going to do about it?
Who makes it out of the pool? Easy for you to decide?
It's so hard, but after this weekend's result, I've got to favour Boks and Ireland 1-2, no particular order. Don't think it really matters. We've got big quarterfinals coming up. Sorry, Jim. Sorry.
That's fine.
Sorry
that's
for
fine.
the bad news.
I can see why. I can see why Ireland are obviously class. Rassie Erasmus for president. It's being called. The fans want it.
I think if he runs, we'll probably get majority votes, no doubt. He pushes the boundaries, no doubt. But I think most importantly, doesn't matter what you think of him as a South African, I think what's quite clear is this group of players respects him. And they'll do anything for him, and you get the same vice versa. He'll do anything to get the competitive advantage for this team, and I think this team really respects him, and they are thankful for what he's done to them. You know, when he took over in 2018, we were ranked 6th in the world, sort of lost where we were at in World Rugby. And then since then, you know, we've won a World Cup, and you know, we've probably got a great chance of winning this World Cup as well.
One of the greatest men in rugby,
Yeah.
our coach, former coach, Alex Anderson, now at Sale. He made this
Yeah.
lovely analogy, which he liked to do. I can't do it quote for quote, but he said something, a wild animal fueled by God is a South African rugby player. There was something around that. You know what his analogies
Yeah.
were like?
Yeah.
And again, I'm going...
They were incredible, weren't they?
They were. I'm kind of doubling down a little bit on this, but it's the humility.
Yeah.
It's the gladiatorial kind of anger and warrior spirit that you have. But off the pitch, it isn't that.
No.
And I can't wrap my head around that, because it's almost like you have to be something completely all the time. You don't. As South African players, you don't.
Out of your type, maybe. Like for me, I think where it all comes down for is the past, and I think we're really good at feeding off the past and players that's come before you. We've got to take through the mid 80s where we were international isolation. You know, we didn't play the first World Cup. We got reintroduced into international sport in 1992. Before that, all we had is Currie Cup. All the magnificent stadiums, they like cauldrons, were built during those eras where the people only had provincial rugby. Inter-provincial rivalry was sparked, it was enormous. And then you came to our generation and generation before, in 95, you know, we got a first World Cup over the line, and what that meant for our country is unification, a country that at the time was quite edgy. It's almost like the country just thought, okay, South Africa is good at something again. And I think we in 2007 probably didn't mean that much, but like it meant a lot for us as a group and for South African rugby fans and South Africans in general that, you know, we were the best in the world again. Repeated that dose in 2019 with Siya Kolisi as captain, with a performance in that final that none of us saw coming. It's almost like get the Boks to a final and they will do the business. And they did the business against England, which by all accounts was the best team at the World Cup. And it's something about putting that jump on and all of this current generation understanding that we're just custodians of this jersey for a limited time. You never own that jersey, but you've got opportunity to leave that jersey in a better space. And I think it's all of those factors that make the Boks such a formidable force. And this team typifies what we as South Africans stand for.
Schalk Burger, absolutely love that, mate. Thank you very much.
Jimbo, I'm starting to sweat, boy.
Yes, I am. It is hot. It is hot.